America, the beautiful, the land of the free. And yet, is it free? Today, we see so much conflict in America today. We have atheists telling us to take "In God We Trust" off the monies, off the courtroom, because it's not fair for them to have to carry money that says "In God We Trust" because they don't believe in a God. And yet there's some real problems happening in America today that we should concern ourselves. Problem that was created even before I was born with the Ku Klux Klan, believing they're the superior race. They no longer wear hoods. They walk around like you and I. With the church, people are complaining about the rich pastors in America. With the black people being murdered. And people are saying Black Lives Matter. All lives matter. Do we really have to worry about whether or not "In God We Trust" is on our bills or on our courthouse walls? The bottom line is, when has America trusted in God? Amen? What's going on with America today? Fox News has an article. Lawsuit demands U.S. remove "In God We Trust" from money. So let's read this article and see what it's saying. A new lawsuit filed on behalf of several atheist plaintiffs argued the phrase "In God We Trust" on U.S. money is unconstitutional and calls for the government to get rid of it. Sacramento attorney Michael Newdow filed the lawsuit Monday in Aron, Ohio. He unsuccessfully sued the government at least twice, challenging the use of the phrase "under God" in the Pledge of Allegiance. Throughout much of his lawsuit, the word appeared as G/D. Newdow claims "In God We Trust" violates the separation of church and state. One plaintiff said his atheism is substantially burdened because he is forced to bear on his person a religious statement that causes him to sense his government legitimizing, promoting, and reinforcing negative and injurious attitudes not only against atheists in general, but against him personally. And they show a picture of Michael Dow in 2004. The lawsuit represents 41 plaintiffs from Ohio and Michigan, including many unnamed parents and children who are atheists or are being raised as atheists. Defendants include Congress, Treasury Secretary Jacob Lew, and various federal agencies. A message-seeking comment was left Wednesday at the office of United States Attorney for Ohio Northern District. The Associated Press contributed to this report. I don't know about you, but all this gives me a headache. Here are some people's views. first one is mistaken. In God we trust dates back to before the Civil War. This common misconception, because it was added to all money, is well quoted by lying atheists. This is why most religion is good. It teaches not to lie. Atheists have no moral, thus don't care about lying to get their objective. The next is Nick Shorlin. You have named yourself very well, since you are greatly mistaken. In God we trust was added to our currency in 1954, parentheses, way after the Civil War, parentheses, and is a blatant violation of the separation of church and state, parentheses. Only someone with no brains could argue against that, parentheses, and only Christians seem to think it is not, since it coincides with their beliefs. The problem here is that people don't understand that freedom of religion also includes freedom from religion. I'm sure you would be fighting tooth and nail if our money had "In Allah We Trust" on it. And one more thing, your belief in God most definitely does not make you better than any other human being on this planet. It's what you do with your belief that matters. And sadly, it seems that all anyone is doing with their religious beliefs nowadays is judge, persecute, and belittle others for no other reason than that they think they are better than anyone else. So stop lying to yourself. Next, Mistaken replied, well, of course, he's mistaken. He was raised by whites who were raised by more whites who have distorted history over time. So knuckleheads like him believe all this garbage. Now we have Chadman 5000. In God We Trust was put on the money during the whole McCarthy communist scare in the 50s. The last I checked, separation of church and state includes things like the government stamping of religious belief on all of our currency. You can believe whatever you like in home or at your place of worship, but get religious slogans off the money. And that was Chad 5000. Also says, if only you told the real truth. Next we have My Ship. Since when has the majority ruled? As far as I know, there are still more Christians in this country than atheists. What I like to tell these people is get a life and stop interfering with the rest of our lives. My ship. It is then, not then. We have Jody Bingo. I like these names. At my ship. The Constitution prevents the majority from making laws because they are a majority. The Constitution protects individual rights. The Constitution prohibits the government from promoting any religion, which includes mentioning God on its money. The law is not preventing you from practicing your religion. It is not forcing you to worship privately. The lawsuit is not saying that no God exists. The lawsuit is preventing the government from endorsing a religion. Not having "In God We Trust" on your money is not interfering with your lives either. The country was doing just fine without it before it appeared on the money in 1956. But we thank God that they're giving us the date when the money was stamped "In God We Trust." Let's modify your last statement to fit the actual law now. Get a life and stop forcing our religion on the rest of our lives. Mistaken to Jody, Bingo, and My Shift. Laughing out loud. You have never read the Constitution, have you? The phrase, "In God We Trust," is not an endorsement of religion. The phrase has and will remain whether atheists likes it or not, and the thought that it was not on our currency before 1956 is a farce. The use of that phrase long predates 1956. Boy, seem like people are really heated about this "In God We Trust" on the money. Sean D.H. The value of $1 is based on faith in the United States of America. Writing "In God We Trust" on the money does not mean that Americans actually do trust God. I personally lose faith in America each year. Every time there is a mass shooting, I lose faith in America. When I learn about shows on network television, I lose faith in America. When I see crude and quoted Facebook posts by people I care about and realize that these same people, under different circumstances, were kinder, more caring people, I lose that faith, knowing the circumstances of our social environment are a result. When I hear the weakest, most unfortunate people in our society denigrated by the most fortunate, I lose that faith. I lose that faith because the United States loses its value. Ruby Gonzalez. The value of the dollar is based on fiscal backing and economic stability, not faith. You want faith? Go to church. You want to be an American? Then follow the Constitution. And by the Constitution, this is illegal. Why is that so difficult for you people to understand? Mistaken at Rudy Gonzalez. Accordingly, previous attempts to remove the statement has failed in the courts. This actually means that it is constitutional and legal. Okay, we have someone new. B.S. Atheist. Faith is defined when evidence is absent, thus having a belief in something. When evidence is present, it becomes a fact and will no longer require one to have a belief, because it is a fact. So keep your word, faith, and your sky daddies in your church and in your heads. Ghostwriter 55. Just change it to "In God We Trust," and atheists won't. And atheists, we don't. Pretty much clears this up. Country Gal 51. If you don't want to carry money with "In God We Trust" on it, leave it in the bank and write checks or use debit card. Problem solved. End of that story. It's really sad that the only religion that is losing rights in the Christian religion. The reason being that the Muslims and atheists are trying to push Christianity out. It's time to stand up for what we Christians believe in. This country was founded by Christians, and we are being pushed out and stomped on. Atheist 4/35 years. To Country Gal 51. You poor Christian. I mean it, not like there's any other quote on our currency such as "Praise be Allah the Great." Would you be willing to have that also on currency? I didn't think so. So please go back to crying over being a poor Christian being pushed out of the country, or in other words, go back to living in your bubble. Wise, W-I-S. 2. Atheist 4/35 years, and Country Gal 51. I think you are the one living in a bubble. You are the minority. As for praise be Allah the Great on money, those that wish it can go back to their country and live by their laws, not try to impose their laws here. That goes for atheists as well. Live and die by what you believe or do not believe, but do not impose your beliefs and values on the people of religious beliefs as values. Rudy Gonzalez. So, where actually are atheists supposed to go? It seems you are okay with imposing your beliefs on others, but when the shoe is on the other foot, you don't seem to like it. You know what that's called? Hypocrisy. Here's a news flash. You should try and comprehend West. This country is run by the Constitution, not the Bible. You want to be in a country that enforces your religious belief? Then feel free to find one, because America isn't it. JJSN at Wise, Atheist 4/35 years, and Country Gal 51. We are not pushing our beliefs on you. We ask that the country follow its own laws. Mistaken. 2. JJS, Wise, Atheist 4/35 years, and Country Gal 51. Our country is following its laws. This is why the previous attempt to remove it has failed. This is just another attempt from atheists to waste energy and time in our courts. And brothers and sisters, this continues and continues and continues and continues. But guess what? It still goes nowhere. Goes nowhere fast. So I ask you, what do you think? Should America take the slogan off the money in God we trust, like they're taking it off the courtroom doors? Have America presented itself as a godly country? Think about it. I believe that's the only argument that America should be asked. And if they have not lived as a godly country, then it would be right for them to remove "In God We Trust" off the money, off the courtroom, buildings. Otherwise than that, because you're pretending. Perpetrating a fraud. Did Beyonce make a statement when she was at the NFL? And was it appropriate? God bless.